We all know how IQ tests are racist. I mean, here's a book, which is obviously definitive proof. The Racism of Intelligence, How Mental Testing Practices Have Constituted an Institutionalized Form of Group Domination. And that's not just books, there's also research papers here. Here's one, Race and Racism in Intelligence Testing. And why are they saying that? Well, here's a graph. On one side is your average IQ of, certain levels of education, and the average IQ of certain groups. And there's this very awkward lining up here between 9 to 11 years and a certain group, which makes it quite uncomfortable because, of course, you look at, say, white or Asian, that's equivalent to, college, university, what have you, education almost. And that doesn't look good. And, of course, the answer for this is that it's caused by racism. Of course, this graph is taken from this, which is the most widely used intelligence test for adults in the world. And that graph itself came from this book, which is associated with that test. So it's only the most widely used one, which, of course, just goes to show how deep the problem is. And, of course, I've spent a lot of time thinking about this because I've had a lot of time on my hands, let's be honest. And I think I've come up with a solution that will cater towards the people who weren't getting quite the scores, and it's a different kind of test, more to their sort of level, I suppose. And it's that of a source of social or civic IQ. But first, I suppose it's worth mentioning that if you've already got a high civic IQ, you know that buying Islander magazine is probably a good idea. It's internationally shipped. You can get it in most countries, I think, and it's relatively cheap, and you get some beautifully designed things and some well-written stuff. And guess what? It's on paper. When, the EU bureaucracy destroys the internet, you'll still have this. You can still have stuff to read in your electricity-less house. So there you go. It's a plan for the future. With that out of the way, I put out this. This is my first attempt at trying to devise a test, but then I soon democratized it to you, the people at home, the audience. I asked you to help me come up with some questions as well, and I've selected my favourites, and we're going to go through. And there is a point at the end of all of this, so I'm not just being silly, although it's going to be a lot of fun. There is a proper political point here at the end. So I say, at the start of IQ tests, they should ask, do you use your speakerphone in public? And if the answer is yes, the pen is taken away and the rest of the test must be completed in crayon. Each crayon eaten is a deduction of 10 points, which I feel like is an important point.
I will say, as per my previous segment where I was berating the term democracy, I am a fan of democracy on Twitter. I feel like that's the best place for it.
I tell you what, this process actually made me feel like, the internet's not such a bad place after all. I was sort of proud of you all. I was just like, you got the assignment. You've given me lots of good answers. It's like, you lot, better than you think, really. Sounds almost like a backhanded compliment. I meant it in a nice way. So the first subsection of my test is called In the Store. And it relates to, obviously, things that are in stores. So the most obvious one, of course, is do you return the shopping cart? The ultimate test of self-governance, which I don't feel like needs much explaining. I think the question is self-evident. I imagine you both return the shopping cart.
Well, I want that quid back out of it, don't I?
That's true. Stelios?
Yeah, of course. Why would I leave it in the middle of nowhere?
Exactly.
Or in a river.
Yeah, it's not exactly like, a post-apocalyptic setting.
So the next question I quite liked. When shopping for groceries, you realise you grabbed an item accidentally that you did not want. Do you, A, place the item on the closest available shelf, or B, return the item to its proper place on the shelves? Well, I think we know the correct answer to this one, right?
Right.
Obviously, you throw it on the floor.
Right, but Josh, I think there's the other element. There's people who understand what you want to hear, irrespective of what they're going to do. So let's say I'm a very sneaky person. I can understand what you want.
Well, you look left, you look right. There's no one else in the aisle with you.
Yeah.
So,
throw it away, not just destroy it. Destroy it in seconds.
In a similar vein, while shopping you noticed a garment has fallen off the hanger and is laying crumpled on the floor. Do you A, put it back on the hanger, B, ignore it and hope nobody notices, or C, kick it further under the rack so other shoppers don't notice you ignored it?
Or D, wear it.
D is shoplift it, yeah. To be fair, when I was a kid, I did do C once or twice, but then more often than not, it wasn't me that knocked it over, and I was just like, well, I'm going to move out of the way because it's better than someone standing on it, but I'm not going to take the time to pick this up because it's, shop that's somewhat beneath me.
And then you had a
very
slightly higher
child.
Education, and you learned that was wrong.
Now I pick it up and put it back on the hanger, yes. But the point being that it is children that make these sorts of mistakes, ideally, but not anymore.
Children.
Yes. Well, as we've seen, sometimes it's not always the children, is it? And if you have a full trolley and the person behind you only has a couple of items, do you let them go in front of you? Now, I've seen this happen quite a lot, and it happens normally in more high-trust areas. Mm-hmm. I know where I grew up, this was always the case. People would actually stand in the queue and look behind them to make sure that they could facilitate a speedy...
Yeah, but what if you want to go to the bathroom?
What? And you've got a full trolley, or you're the person?
You have a full trolley and say, okay, let's get it done.
I've done that before, actually, and I just asked the person next to me, is it all right if you watch my trolley while I pop to the toilet? And they're like, yeah, of course. And then by the time I'd come back, my trolley was there with a very annoyed cashier. But I was just like, I had to go, I'm so sorry. I was desperate. I drank so much tea.
It's fine, I'm Josh Firm from the Lotus Eaters.
I wasn't at that point. I was just Josh Firm. And then finally, do you have your wallet, purse, cash or card ready at the checkout when it's time to pay, or do you react with surprise and have to locate it when given the price of your purchase?
I think this is a man-woman thing.
Okay. Stelios is going to stir the pot.
No, because I think generally speaking, I just have the car ready and I pay. But I see my wife many times, she just sits there, she opens her wallet, she
counting
looks
the 10 pence.
Yes, I've seen other women doing it because they frequently carry more stuff than we do.
That's true. I'm always there with a card ready. Sometimes I might even get my wallet out whilst I'm putting the shopping away, even before I've paid, just so I can get it as quickly as possible to tap it and leave.
But also, shopping isn't a religious experience for me.
I hate it.
Yeah, I absolutely hate it. I'll go into the store, I'm going to x-ray it, I'm going to instantly find out what I want to buy. I'll either buy it or not, and I'm gone.
That's called being a man, Stelios, and that's the correct way of doing it. I know what I like. I'm in and out of the shop. If it's any more than 2 minutes...
surgical strike.
Yeah.
Precision hit.
It's like a special military operation. You go in and out, no witnesses.
Having said
no
that,
surrender.
For all of this, it's like, no, I just want to get in and, do my shop as fast as possible. There is still I will take a little bit more time if it means ticking the right answer.
Oh,
to these questions, right? No, if it means putting things back on the right shelf or letting someone with far fewer things than you go ahead, right? Just these social things, social considerations for other people.
Naturally, courtesy comes first.
It as a given. Right.
Next, my subgroup is travel. So, you're leaving a bus. What do you say? And now they didn't include any options, but I thought this was a good question. I have option A, nothing. Option B, a bunch of gibberish to your cousin Abdul on speakerphone. Or C, thank you. And I think I've been basically coded to always say thank you to the bus driver.
Yes.
Same.
But then you don't have a cousin called Abdul.
That's true. But if I did, I'd be on the phone.
But what if the driver is the leftist?
I'm still grateful that he transported me safely. More grateful, really.
Yes, but he did it because he was aiming towards the revolution. Not to help you.
The revolution of bus drivers.
What's he going to do? Just go on strike? Oh, wait, they never turn up anyway. He's not going to notice. So this one was almost a trick question because I actually found this one difficult. Who gets the last seat on the bus? So, there's a final seat, and for some reason, there's this mix of people. First come, first serve, which is, the London rules. Mm-hmm. A mother with children and bags, who I'd normally give up a seat for. Whoever is the largest, I would make them stand out of principle. They need it. 4, the oldest passenger, another good candidate. I give up my seat to old people. 5, a pregnant woman, which is, I feel like a given you give up your seat for a pregnant woman. 6, a disabled man. Or 7, yourself. And to this, I'm just like, well, have I got to pick between a mother and her children with lots of bags, obviously needs lots of room, a pregnant woman, the oldest passenger, so an old person, or a disabled person? At this rate, I would just say, you know what, you guys figure it out between you. I'm not going to sit down. You know what, I might get the next one, actually. This is too awkward. But I feel like the disabled person, normally they come on wheels, don't they? As in onto a bus, they'll be in a wheelchair, so you can tuck them away, with, close to the luggage rack. Obviously, still in their wheelchair.
Tuck them away.
So I unless they're on crutches or something, but then I think it should be the pregnant person, then the old person. So I think old people are happy to stand for a pregnant woman. They understand the importance of it, and they're most likely to adhere to that. However, if anything, I would encourage other people to stand to help some of these people sit. But it's a very difficult one. This is
you're just sat
hot
there.
marks.
You're like, oh, get up for that woman.
I've done that before.
Yeah.
You shame people into being good. It works. So
Might catch on.
Here's one. When you're waiting for a lift, when the doors open, do you immediately enter or do you wait for current passengers to disembark? Now in Britain, people are normally pretty good for this, except I think in the underground in London, where people sort of scramble, but not always.
Yeah. And I've noticed that more and more over the years as well.
It's getting worse.
Yeah, lived in London for 5 years, and to begin with, I didn't notice that. Everyone, wherever they were from in the world, the people getting off had right of way. Mm-hmm. And now that's becoming less and less common.
You need to exit like a juggernaut.
I've shoulder barged people before. I'm just there walking out the door, just like this. Taking out as many as possible. No,
you look at them like a hater.
It's the broken window effect, isn't
stand
it?
back.
Here's another one. Do you move to the side of the escalator so people can pass? Lots of people fall afoul of this one. You have a fast lane and a slow lane. To be fair, it's more of a London thing in my mind, because where I'm from, we didn't really have fast and slow lanes. If you're on the escalator, normally you're just standing there. And people take their time, I'm from the West Country. It's a slower pace of life. People are just generally, less in a rush.
I'm one of those people that I always walk up them anyway.
So do I. I normally take stairs if given the choice.
But the ratio of standers to walkers is quite large, for want of a better way to put it.
I think
too many idle men in London.
I've seen too many videos from Russia where the escalator collapses and people get swallowed up. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to take the stairs. I don't know who's maintaining this.
Who are the men that pick for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellahin, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellahin condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.loadseaters.com.
Here's another one. When travelling by train, do you A, sit inside, B, sit on top, or C, hang on the outside?
I tell you what, a part of me is waiting for this to happen in England. I've thought about this before.
The thing is, if it happens in Britain, I think the first people to notice it are going to be all of the anoraks that are watching the trains, all the train spotters getting upset, just like, no, that you can't do that.
No one will believe them to begin with.
They'll be the canary in the coal mine for the decline. And then the final one in travel is starting your car's turn signals, or your indicators if you're in Britain, indicates 1, you'll be turning or changing lanes in 3 or more seconds. 2, you're beginning to change lanes right now. 3, what are those?
You imagine people stop lights and now I'm just stopping.
4,
instantly.
4, indicate one way, go in the other direction.
Diversion.
I'm actually going to correct this one because the correct answer, according to the British Highway Code, is that it indicates that you wish to turn, not that you're going to turn in any amount of seconds. It's that you're going to turn or change lanes when it is safe. So it's indicating your intention, which is why we call them indicators rather than turn signals. So that is the correct way. I got a good score on my theory test, all right? Not so good on the practicals.
Still not road legal.
Hey, I've got a license. And next, I've called this food and entertainment. Here's a good one. Do you ever feel peckish when you see swans at the park? I feel like this is... do you see the ducks and the swans in the park? Do you see them as free to be taken? Or do you see them as, in a sense, collective public property that beautifies the area?
Well, on a personal level, I don't like swans. But
Nor do I. I wouldn't go so far as to eat one, though.
No, but I wouldn't make a picnic of one.
No.
No.
Buffet, perhaps, but not a picnic.
Why would I want a swan in my house?
They can break a man's arm, you know.
Go around loitering.
Just a one swan, actually.
So, here's one that's particularly topical. For each meal, which is the correct eating tool for the job? Knife and fork, spoon, hands, and 4, hands in mouth up to the knuckle. So we've got a roast dinner, top left, some slop, top right, a burger, bottom left, and soup, bottom right. I would say, obviously roast dinner, knife and fork. Slop, you use your hands to launch it away from you because it's probably going to give you food poisoning. A burger... depending on its integrity, I might use a knife and fork, but sometimes hands. And the same with the fries or chips. And soup, obviously use a spoon.
Obviously hands with a spoon.
Hands for soup.
Hey, I've seen it happen before when I've been in London. I've seen someone eat soup with their hands. And the thing is, it wasn't that they didn't have a spoon. There was a spoon next to them. So they chose to do it.
So honestly, how do they do it? Take a...
They cup their hand.
You go up to them and you're like, teach me.
I don't want to learn.
No, just study them.
Eat my cereal in the morning with a cupped hand. Unbelievable. So this one gave me PTSD, as I said in the reply. When you visit a busy takeaway restaurant, do you read the menu, contemplate your choices and decide on your meal while in the line, or only do that after the cashier asks for your order? Which was one of the most popular suggestions, actually. This one is annoying. Yes, please just make your decisions before you talk to a customer service representative.
Well, I never have this problem because I'm a very, very basic man, and I just always order the same thing from the takeaway, whichever one I go to. So
I like to go for adventurous stuff. But
what should I take? They ask you, what are you going to order?
What do you recommend?
What do you recommend? Yeah.
That's all right in a restaurant, but if you're at, takeaway, no chance. So I've got some questions here that I came up with for at the cinema, and I'm just going to leave this to play in the background.
Oh, come on, please. No.
So when at the cinema, do you take your rubbish with you? As I've always done this.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah, growing up, you don't leave your rubbish in the cinema, you take it with you. And when everyone left, there'd be no sign that people had been there to watch a film. But this is, of course, the West Country, so everything works down there.
And it was just that no one went to the cinema.
To be fair, towards the end, yes.
Yeah.
Do you talk to the person next to you the whole way through? Which apparently is a thing. I've never really seen this in the cinema myself, but in London, apparently it's really bad. Multicultural areas. Do you answer phone calls and shout over the film to be heard? I've seen videos of this in the cinema. I've never seen it myself, but if I did, it would be seconds before I say something.
I went to one time I was in London when I was living in London, and I went to the cinema in Wimbledon with a few of my friends, which is still a more British area of London, let's put it that way.
That's where the tennis is.
Everyone was very conscientious, and it felt like it was just a nice atmosphere to go and enjoy a film in. But then there was another friend who couldn't catch it. I enjoyed the film, so I went again. But that time we went to the cinema in Peckham. And if
you're not from Britain, that is a very diverse, particularly black area.
There was a lot of cries from the urban youth, and it was honestly the single worst cinema experience I've ever had.
Speaking of a movie theater, one thing that constantly makes me go ballistic, but in seconds, is when people are kicking my seat.
I hate seat kickers. That's another question. Do you kick people's seat?
Yeah.
Also, whoever invented...
I'd be an absolute tyrant there.
Whoever invented eating popcorn in the cinema, I want to find you and hurt you.
No, you know what?
The
That would be
noisiest
funny.
food in the place where you most want silence.
No, because okay, if we were in a movie and you were frustrated with people eating popcorn, I'd laugh hysterically with you getting frustrated.
I know you would. I know you well enough. It need not be said.
That's another thing. Like, are you? Do you have a high enough social IQ so that if you do take snacks to a cinema, you open them all and get rid of the noisy bits before the film starts?
When I went to see Top Gun Maverick, someone brought along what can only be described as a cooked meal in a Tupperware, which was still warm and stunk out the entire cinema. If that's you, consider dignitas. That's the politest way I can put it. So, imagine you're busy barbecuing indoors and you hear a beep from your hallway. What do you do?
Or a chirp.
A, I don't hear no beep. B, offer a sacrifice to satiate the skybird. Or C, change your smoke alarm battery. It's an important question. So here's one that is actually quite a good one because it's sort of counterintuitive to some people. In a busy pub, you find a place to stand at the bar and wait until it's your turn to be seen by the barman, or do you start forming a single file queue like somebody who's never been in a pub before? So yes, we like a queue in Britain, not always appropriate. Sometimes when you're at the pub, the man at the bar or the lady, different times, keeps rough track, and also the people at the bar normally say, oh no, you were here before me. There's a certain amount of deference, and what it does is having this method makes people talk to each other, makes people show some good faith to one another. You don't just slide in and barge ahead. Nothing breeds ire in my English heart more than someone who slides in and gets served before their time. It's complete violation of the social contract. And speaking of which, do you bathe daily and wear deodorant? You've been to the gym with me before.
Yes.
I've noticed that certain demographics, largely the subcontinent of India and the continent of part of sub-Saharan Africa, just refuse to wear them in the gym of all places. And sometimes when you're trying to do reps, you get a big lungful of someone else's body odour, pungent, worse than I could ever produce. That is enough to put you off and is actually probably dangerous. And I'm not saying this to be like hyperbolic.
You just drop the on yourself.
Like I'm just like, oh, I'll be there lifting, 95 kgs bench press. And then I'm there catching the whiff of someone's armpits, and I'm just like, it makes the rep harder. It does. It really does, because you're getting less oxygen intake, because it stinks. Here's a nice basic one. Do you say sorry when someone bumps into you?
Of course.
I do as well. I remember someone in Slovenia stood on my foot, and I said sorry to them, and then they looked at me as if I was like mentally ill.
Okay, guys, I don't understand. Why are you apologizing if someone bumps into you?
Because
I know this happens, but
it's just to say I'm sorry. It's like I'm sorry this has happened.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this entire situation.
Yeah, it's
but
not.
Maybe they did it in purpose.
It's not claiming response. Well, you don't say sorry then, do you? But it's
in that case, you don't leave until they've said sorry to you.
Yeah. They're gonna be.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're gonna be sorry.
Here's one the Japanese understand. If there's no bin around, do you put your rubbish in your pocket or throw it on the ground? I'm proud to say I've never littered in my entire life, and in fact, I probably picked up more of other people's litter than most people.
Based.
That's going camping for you, eh? You pick it up, you find a nice spot, and you tidy it up because there's inevitably a crisp packet or something. So yes, very good question. Here's one from Proper Horror Show, who coincidentally today, I think, our conversation about Stanley Kubrick's films are coming out on Lotus Eaters. Are pyjamas a houseware item or good for trips to the supermarket or Mackie D's? I like that question. Very good. Dunking on the underclass.
Pyjamas are also a shroud.
And here's one. A customer service worker is female. She smiles as she assists you. Is she A, hitting on you, B, doing the job she is paid to do and no more? I quite like this one. This was quite astute because lots of people, regular English people even fall on this. And I've had it in my life where people have been like, oh, they were really nice. Was she like hitting on me? I'm just like, no, they're just being friendly. It's like you so starved of attention.
Yeah, but
fell for it again award.
Yeah.
It depends how attractive you are.
Stelios is, you sly old dog.
Stelios is like, it's always A.
It's always A.
And then
I'm a married man, damn it. Stop looking at me like that.
So the final one for manners is a series of questions. Do you stop dead in shop doorways? This is one that I hate the most. This is very prevalent in Swindon with its large Indian population because they haven't quite acclimatized to having a civic sense of spatial awareness. Escalators and things like that as well. When walking down the street, do you look more than 2 steps in front of you? This is true of a lot of people. There's no one demographic. Plenty of teenagers on their phones do this. And when walking with a group of people, do you leave room for people to pass going the other way? This is something I wish more people would do. Fat people are guilty of this one particularly. They do take up more room in the pavement, but still, they're bumbling along at a slow pace, taking up all the pavement. I don't want to have to step in the road and nearly get hit by a car just to get around you, and I'm too impatient to wait. So, yeah.
It's so idiotic to do the 4th one.
I know. I've seen it happen though. Someone gets to the bus driver after queuing to get on the bus, and it's like, does this bus go to such and such place? It'll be on the front of the bus in big letters. It's like, oh, dear Lord. Are you sure you're okay to be travelling on your own? And then I've got some questions for the pros. So here are some difficult ones. Do you know what per capita means?
No, sir.
I didn't think so. But one number's bigger than the other. I don't understand. Also forgot to mention, when it comes to the do you return the shopping cart, what I was going to say, it would have been a lot better if I did, was no, I actually use a basket. But it's a play on the breakfast question, isn't it? Didn't work. But and here's a big brain meta question. Do you respond to any of the wrong answers with any variant of lol, why do you care though? Because of course we've seen this, where people get called out on their poor behaviour publicly. And it's like, why do you care? What was it to you? Which is, of course, a very low IQ response.
Because it affects you every single day at this point in some capacity or another.
So, why have I designed this? What's the real purpose of this segment? Well, I read this and I thought it was very good, and I'm going to read it to you. You didn't need to be a crime victim to feel it. It wasn't just in the air. This clicks when you watch somebody blast videos on subway speakers, or underground train, bus, any form of transport really. Nobody else in the subway car moves. Nobody speaks. They're all running the same calculation. This person already broke the basic social contract. So what else would they break? Someone who forces 30 strangers to listen to their TikTok videos has already announced they don't follow rules or care about consequences. So when you think about tapping their shoulder, you're not wondering if they'll turn it down, you're wondering if they'll stab you. The antisocial behaviour works because everyone else does the math and decides that their comfort, isn't worth finding out whether this person's boundaries actually, where these person's boundaries actually end. It's soft terrorism. And I think that this is a good characterization of it. Someone's basically holding a whole group of people to ransom through the potential threat of violence. Because in a perfect world where we knew that people wouldn't be violent, people would say something, wouldn't they? And they'd feel comfortable doing so.
Yeah, this is why so many of the people that you see on the buses or on the trains who are blaring their music out, why people don't just go over to them and say, excuse me, can you turn it down please, or turn it off? Because they're scared of the repercussions, what will happen if they intervene.
I still do it anyway, but then not everyone's as crazy as me.
Formidable.
Yes, yeah. The formidable firm.
Tenacious.
I'm a big guy. I can get away with it. The threat never gets spoken, never gets recorded in any crime database, but it controls every interaction, and that's the key point here. This is a new way to view these sorts of things. They're not just, I had some innocent fun with it, but actually there is a dark undertone to this, that it's someone announcing that they don't care about wider society, and then they're willing to go against the norms, and so it suggests that they're going to hurt you, basically. You hear someone playing music out loud, it means that there's a higher chance that they're going to try and hurt you. Yeah. That is that simple, really. And this extract, by the way, to credit, comes from this guy. I think it's from his newsletter. I've never heard of him before. I just saw the extract by chance on Twitter, and it got me thinking about this sort of thing. And actually, yes, these sorts of behaviours, they're not just restricted to migrant communities or people from abroad. They are also present domestically, even before mass migration, to a certain extent, but it was limited enough that we didn't feel this same sense. We felt like we could police ourselves. But now it's to the sense of not only are there people who simply just don't know our norms, but also it lowers the boundary for our own domestic people, because it's like the broken window effect. Well, there are other people on the bus playing their music, why can't I? And so not only is it the new arrivals, it's also the natives that are having their standards lowered just by being in the presence of these people. And what it does is it just makes people more afraid of being out and about in everyday life. And that's obviously not a good thing, but it hasn't received nearly as much attention as the serious problem that it is, because it's presented as a petty convenience. Actually, it's one of those things that is a looming threat that affects everyone's life in the modern mass migration world.
I think there's a distinction between very combative and reconciliatory behaviors. I think these are the terms. And when people are polite, they show that they have the ability to be reconciliatory when it comes to minor social friction that happens every day. So they show, listen, I'm prepared to look past that and move forward. The people you're describing and the people who are routinely acting as if they don't care about the people around them, they show, basically they're signaling, unintentionally perhaps, that they're very aggressive.
They're also
and that they are not going to reconcile with others.
They're basically
they are looking for trouble.
They're basically anti-civilizational, aren't they? They're thumbing their nose at the notion of a civil society and civilization more generally. But if you do care about civilization, perhaps you should check out my YouTube channel, because I've got lots of videos there. I've got a new one on the way soon. And yes, hope you enjoyed this. Something a bit different from my usual segments, but hopefully it was a bit of fun with a good moral lesson in the end. So thank you for watching, and goodbye. If you would like to watch the full uncut version that is also uncensored, head on over to lotuseaters.com to find out more.